Dead by Daylight is a paradox. It is both meant to be a casual game, but at the same time has the mechanics of a competitive game and even hosts official tournaments. Yet despite all this, there is no ranked or casual split, so everyone is lumped together. So then that begs the question, is Dead by Daylight meant to be a casual or a competitive game? Now, most of you would probably say that the game is casual, and you wouldn't be wrong about that. The game is definitely catered to and balanced around the casual player-based audience. But then, if that is the case, why are there both official tournaments for Dead by Daylight with rule sets and forced MMR? For those who don't know what MMR is, it stands for Matchmaking Ranking. It is used in most, if not all, forms of competitive games in one form or another, through ranks, floors, or just directly MMR points. MMR works that you get a number, let's say 1000. You will be paired within a range of other players with a similar MMR. You can be paired with players who have an MMR of 1300 to say 800. This system is in place so that it can accurately put you into matches with players who are near your skill level. This is a good idea, however MMR is used basically exclusively for ranked modes. In fighting games, MOBAs, team shooters, etc. Either MMR is used or ranks, sometimes both, like going from bronze to grandmasters. Now you might also be thinking, oh okay, so this MMR is good, it helps me get paired with players near my rank, right? Wrong! Dead by Daylight's MMR works as basically 3 ranks. You have your low MMR players who have just started, and as they play, they work their way up to an MMR level of about 1000, where all those players play together. When a player hits the next rank, they are forever locked into that MMR ranking, meaning that their MMR can no longer go below that 1000 MMR threshold. This is to prevent smurfing, which is fine, I guess. I don't really have any complaints about that. However, while this is fine because it's mostly new players who don't know how to play the game so they can all experiment and play casually together, once you hit 1600 MMR, all hell breaks loose. Again, once you hit this MMR, there is no way back down, so you're basically locked into this final rank forever. Once you hit this MMR, you are basically paired with everyone else, and it is the Wild West. So you can get paired with the 50-hour nurse to the 4,000-hour survive with friends team, because at this MMR, it doesn't matter anymore. Every MMR from 1600 and up plays together. But how is MMR calculated? Well, it's pretty simple for survivors. All you gotta do is escape. That's it. Escaping gives you points, and dying reduces it. Even if you did 4 gens, looped the killer for 8 years, healed every other survivor, and unhooked everyone, as long as you died, your points go down. It's really dumb how even if you carry and sacrifice yourself for your team, after doing all the work, you can get punished for it, while all the other 3 survivors who pre-drop pallets against Nemesis get rewarded by simply hiding and escaping. So how is this system supposed to benefit the casual audience? Most casual players will typically not know how to loop or what objectives to focus on or even how to counter the killer's power. The whole MMR system is stacked against the casual solo queue survivor player base, but rewards the people who sweat or hide the whole match. You might think that this is fine for the casual players, but remember that there's also 4 other players in the match, and out of those 4 players, they might be trying to increase their MMR, so the killer might tunnel and slug, which isn't very fun for survivors. The survivors might play more cautiously and hide so that they can have an easier escape, and if they do accidentally manage to hit that 1600 MMR cap, say goodbye to the fun matches, since once you're locked into that 1600 MMR hellscape, there's no going back. Then there's the killer MMR, which is way more strict, as you need 3 kills minimum for your MMR to increase. 2 gives a draw, and 1 is a loss. Obviously, both casual and serious killer players will always prioritize the 4K, as it's just the core mechanic of the game. Killer's job is to kill everyone, and not let anyone escape, so the killer's MMR will slowly increase over time just by naturally playing the game, until you guessed it, you hit that 1600 MMR and now you're playing against the sweat squads. This very system punishes survivors for thinking right in the unhook survivors and play objectives. Even if I die, my team can escape, since if you die, you just lose points. And it rewards the rats who hide in lockers all game and worked on January for 5 seconds, or the terror radius, turn around and ran Mach 10 to the other side of the map with sprint burst. Then, killers get slowly but surely pushed to the higher ranks even if they just play casually, because all killers will try and go for the 4K. No killer just goes, yeah, I just let 2 survivors escape every game because I want to. The game rewards and incentivizes you to go for 4 kills no matter what. Bleed out, dying on the first hook, Mori, sacrifice, whatever. As long as the executes don't get powered and 1 or 2 survivors run out of the gates, it's a net win. In basically every single video game with MMR, they obviously have a split for casual and ranked players. Casual MMR is much more lenient with the points, so that you can play with players who know what they're doing and not the 500 MMR people who don't know how to even run. Then the competitive MMR, which splits you up into ranks for more precise matchmaking. Back when I started Dead by Daylight in 2016, we used to have ranks, and for the most part, it still was pretty bad. It was just as bad. It was horrible, with the low rank 5 players being paired up with the rank 1 iridescent killers. Eventually, they reworked matchmaking entirely around MMR, despite the entire community's outcries not to do it, but in typical behavior fashion, they do it anyways, because fuck you. Like, even Super Smash Bros. Has 4 fun and 4 glory. Fucking Super Smash Bros. Has this and not Dead by Daylight. Nintendo themselves try to say that Smash is not a competitive fighting game, yet still puts in a ranked mode, and Dead by Daylight can't? Another huge issue with no casual and rank split is the whole argument about survivors and killers bringing meta strong perks. In a competitive setting, players will always pick the strongest option to win. Be it in strategy games, fighting games, shooter games, MOBAs, you name it. Players will always pick the best option if they want to win. When you're playing a ranked game and the enemy team or player is running the most busted character or items or weapons, that's to be expected, as they want to win. However, the fact that Dead by Daylight has no split and the fact that both survivor teams and killers seem to always act like they're on the morally right side. Oh god, he brought Call of Ryan Overcharge, sweaty cringe, tryhard, tunneling, camping killer. Oh god, 4 adrenaline, 4 dead hard, off the record, circle feeling sweat squad. How fun. Couldn't do anything. See, since there's 5 players, unless it's a full 4-man survive with friends, maybe 1 or 2 survivors or the killers could be playing a casual build with fun off-meta perks because they want to play casually. A casual ranked split would allow survivors to bring fun perks to use like head-on or distraction, and hopefully not have to deal with sweaty killers trying to force a 3-gen like Knight and Skull Merchant with Call of Ryan, Overcharge, Deadlock. And then vice versa, where the killer can experiment with their power and perks in a relaxing, better environment. But since MMR is forced upon everyone, that means that they can be playing with anyone from ranked serious players trying to keep up a win streak or boost their MMR, or someone who just got off their 9 to 5 and want to play some Dead by Daylight. Killers do have a split MMR between them all so that they can have a lower rank and thus easier matches when you want to experiment with the killer. However, as your MMR goes up, they will globally increase, meaning that all of your killers could slowly be boosted up to 1600 MMR even though you've played the killer one time. MMR is also totally hidden from the player, so you could be sitting at 1000 MMR and think you're sitting at 2000 and not know it. Honestly though, even though I wish we could see MMR, I know for a fact if we could see this that the game would be so much more toxic, with people raging about their MMRs and placements, but then at the same time, players should have the right to know this stuff in any capacity instead of leaving players in the dark. And then that's not even talking about the balancing this game has. I'm not going to go into a whole spiel about it right now with the whole gen time stuff and all that sort of argument. That's for a different video. I'm a competitive player with some games, and one thing professional tournaments hate above all else is inconsistency and RNG. Look at basically any fighting game or shooter and you'll notice one thing, and that is how consistent the games are. Overwatch maps don't randomly change the amount of walls on it so that both teams can learn the best spots on the map. Players don't have to worry about their character's skills just randomly not being usable or just put in a bad spot like hex totems and scourge hooks, which can spawn in the back room sometimes and just rarely ever see any use. Granted, there are characters in games whose kits are based around RNG like Faust, who is just about throwing random objects, but that's meant for him, not is the whole game itself. DBD maps are entirely randomly generated with how they can spawn, which is why a perk like Windows of Opportunity is good as it lets you see what spawn and what tiles you can connect. If a map had a consistent seed that was competitive standard, it would make the tournament scene a lot more consistent, as both teams would know, okay, they can combo this loop into the TL wall and there's only one pallet and a window here, instead of it being a gamble if it's 3 TL walls in a row or 3 jungle gyms in a row that connects to Shack. If it was always a set amount of pallets and windows spawn on the map in the same locations like Shack, it would make the game much better for those who put in the time and effort to learn the game and master it, aka the professional players playing at a tournament level. Obviously, RNG in a casual game is fine, but remember, Dead by Daylight hosts and supports tournaments. The whole game is seemingly balanced around casual and slowly buffing it so that solo queue players can coordinate better like competitive survive with friend teams, and I'm fine with that as long as killers can get some sort of buff for their consistency like generator spawn, hex spawns, scourge hook spawns, etc. The Dead by Daylight devs even know what perks are OP and what aren't, since in the tournaments they balance around perks and items. If it's such a casual game, then why don't the tournament teams all have 4 Dead Hards, Adrenaline, Circle of Healing off the record then? Dead by Daylight devs know what's wrong and what isn't allowable in the competitive scenes, so they balance around that while making the main game more casual. But while making it more casual, they also push competitive aspects. Now, where have I heard that before? No, I am not ever going back to that hellhole. I'm already dealing with Dead by Daylight. My mental health can only handle so much. And real quickly, I just want to say thank you everyone for subscribing and watching my videos. I really did not expect to hit this milestone so fast. When I'm looking at my phone right now, it says I have 144 subscribers, and I just like the start of this month or about a month ago, I was sitting at 2 or 3 subscribers and I was just having fun doing my own stuff. And then I guess that Freddy video just blew up and hit the algorithm, and everyone's been supporting me, and I'm just so thankful. I don't know what to say. I'm just blown away. I'm gonna keep doing my best. I want to keep making this sort of content for you guys, and also just some general gameplay videos if you guys are fine with that, if you guys want that too. Because I mean, I reluctantly still play this game. I still play it very often. I might get into streaming in a few months when my mic and everything, all my setup's better. I'm moving tomorrow. When I'm recording this, I'm moving tomorrow. I was not expecting to hit this so soon. I was expecting after I move, then I'd probably hit 100, maybe 50, but I didn't expect it to hit 150 at a rough estimate so quickly. I'm just shocked. I'm just so grateful for all of you, and I'm so thankful. I'm gonna keep doing my best for all of you, and I just hope you all have a great day, and I hope you all keep supporting me.